the U.S. dual citizenship may be ending. Thanks to the Republican governor or Republican House person, Congress, whoever he is, from Ohio, who said that all Americans should just be all in and choose to be American. There should be an end to dual citizenship. Does not matter if you are Italian and American, Irish and American, Ghanaian and American, if you're diaspora and you just got your Sierra Leonean passport, or if you're American and you wanted to get that new Botswana CBI, citizenship by investment. America said, actually, I think we're not going to do that. And in fact, many people believe it won't happen, but I would beg to differ, okay? Here's the reason. If nobody has read Project 2025, which I understand why, it's like 106 pages, but I actually took the time to read it, and what I'm finding is quite crazy, to be honest with you. In fact, all the changes in government that you have seen in America in the last just 12 months, 9 months, 10 months, whatever, has actually been on course with every single line written in Project 2025. And so, I thought, I don't remember if canceling dual citizenship is a part of Project 2025, And so if you're like, we have the Constitution, we can trust it. We have the great America, we can trust them. We have President Donald Trump. We have J.D. Vance. We have our laws and amendments and all the things that we can trust. Well, just ask those people who just had their green cards and immigration statuses taken away and actually being shipped and deported to Ecuador, El Salvador, Rwanda, Ghana, and other countries. See, that hadn't happened in history before, but I digress because this is actually a positive video. See, even if they do take dual citizenship away, there are a couple of countries in Africa. My top 5 that I would suggest, I always say this in the State of the Diaspora with my husband, by the way, we are hosting the final State of the Diaspora for 2025 with 2026 updates, December 21st. So you want to get in the room. It's $150 that can save you years of stress, years of money loss, and some crazy issues with taxes in America and Africa that we are going to talk about right now. But here's the thing. We're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to list the 5th country, and then by the time I get to 1, it will be the best country to switch out a U.S. passport for, or to get long-term residency, because having a citizenship or passport is not necessary, okay? You don't really need it unless America hits a breaking point and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get this Ghanaian passport, I'm gonna get this Mauritian passport, I'm gonna get this Rwandan passport, okay? And so let's talk about it. Now, citizenship and passport, I want to make a clear difference and distinguish between these two. Citizenship means that you have full membership in that country. You can live, you can work, you can vote, and you can usually pass that citizenship to your children. The passport is the travel document that's actually attached to being a citizen of that nation. Now we're also going to discuss permanent residency, which means you still keep your old passport. As an American, you're still an American passport holder and citizen, but you get the right to live in that country for a long term, like 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years with permanent residency or long-term residency. And then the final term, which isn't the greatest term, people don't really like to look into this one, is tax residency, where the tax office says you live here for income tax, okay? And every single country in Africa has different rules. I want to make that super, super clear. America has different rules. I'm sure Switzerland, Sweden, all of them have different rules. Every single sovereign nation does tax residency different, okay? And it probably is different from your passport. So you can be a tax resident while not being a citizen. You can be a tax resident without even having a 10-year residency situation. You can be a tax resident even if you stay for over 183 days, okay? So Here is why we need to talk about these things. Nothing here is personal or legal or tax advice. Again, use this as a map or speak to a qualified advisor in your country of choice. It could be a CPA or something that's similar to a CPA in Africa before you make the move or while you're making the move. Now, here's the quick tax reality check to set the contrast. In Africa, some countries hit high earners hard, and high earners in Africa are not the same status as high earners in America. For example, I always go to South Africa because it's such a good example. In South Africa, the top personal income rate is 45%. Now, the amount of money that you need to be making to be taxed at 45% of your international income, I want to make that very clear. You can look it up for yourself. All of these things are available online. Is $45,000 to $48,000 per year. Mozambique also has a pretty high one. And then in Europe, top earners can face, I didn't know Europe was this bad, 55 to 56% tax in places like Denmark, France, and Austria. So it's no wonder they have like free healthcare and free this. Is like their tax rates are incredibly high. So when we say these passports protect your wealth, what we're really saying is it's either simpler or they have lighter tax regimes than the US and Europe for many earners, diaspora-friendly pathways, and real options if Washington actually decides that one passport is enough. Now let's count down, shall we? Number 5 has to be Ghana. Ghana has to hit the top 5 because they run a progressive tax income program. It has a decent rate around the mid-20s. This is really, really good for Africa. This is actually pretty rare in Africa. You're going to see most countries on the continent of Africa, from South Africa to Botswana, to Kenya, to Congo, to Gabon, Sierra Leone, they're charging around 35 to 45% of your international earnings if you're a citizen of that country, or if, depending on the country, you stay there for over 180 days, okay? For South Africa, it's over 180 days, but again, there's gonna be nuance depending on the country that you're in, so you really have to check in with that country and see if you can find that information online. And again, understand, for many middle-income diaspora earners, the overall tax pressure could be similar to the US, okay? It could be very similar. So you want to just plan for that. Be aware of that, because you will owe that if you stay long-term in some of these countries. Now, of course, Ghana offers the right of abode citizenship by registration, okay? So people of African descent can get their citizenship, which is a huge deal if you are in Ghana and you're just like, look, I would choose Ghana over America any day. Ghana has a decent tax rate. It's actually not a bad one. I'm not too mad at about 20 to 25%. Not mad at that at all. Now, number 4 has to be Botswana, which is one of the least corrupt countries in Africa, has a high literacy rate. It's a desert nation, but it's near South Africa, and so it's in that Southern Africa SADC region, and it's quite powerful. Botswana's personal income tax tops out at around 25% for high earners. Pretty good, right? That's actually really good. Roughly half of what some European countries are. Much lower than South Africa as well. Okay, Botswana, like, just give Botswana a round of applause for that. 25% is not bad at all, and they issue 5-year visa permits for those who obtain them, okay? Politically, it's one of the more stable countries in Africa. And again, they have that new citizenship by investment program to where if you had to choose between Botswana and America, it could be pretty high up there on your list. You're not going to feel like you're getting got. You're not going to have to pay 50 million crazy dollars in bribe fees. They're just going to be not corrupt. Pretty cool. They speak English. It's a very chill time from what I can see. Botswana is less about quick paper and more about building a clean, respectable base in a country with reasonable taxes and a government that actually cares about stability. So there's Botswana if you're interested. Benin really shocked me. Number 3 is Benin. Benin also has a progressive tax system of 35% of your income, okay? 35% of your international income. It's pretty modest. Actually, 35% isn't bad. Kenya is also around that 35%, hitting that maybe fourth, third spot, kind of depending on what you like in a country. 35% is not horrible. Benin is one of those countries that kind of goes forgotten about, which is a good thing. I believe, if a country is kind of small and forgotten about, it's like it's not going to be a heavy player in World War III. It's not going to have any huge issues. And so that's Benin. Now, Benin has been saying they're going to issue citizenship and residency to African Americans who hold only one passport, the U.S. passport. It does not work for like a Nigerian diaspora, Ghanaian diaspora, but if you are African American and you like Benin, you like West Africa, now the infrastructure is not A1 yet. It could be up there soon, but the tax rate isn't horrible. It's not 45%, it's 35% of your international income. Benin is a play for people who want regional movement and are willing to accept a mid-range tax load in exchange for more freedom in West Africa. Number 2, this has to be number 2 because this is the only country that's neck and neck. And I just want to say I'm so proud because my mother's lineage was tracked back to this country. Can you guess the country? Shout out to African Ancestry for doing that for me way back in 2017, 2018. I've been on this Africa stuff for a long time, y'all, okay? I had all my options together. Now, without further ado, Sierra Leone, okay? This is definitely an underrated country for African diaspora. Their top personal income tax rate, can you guess? I love it. I love that. I really love that. It's 15%. A measly 15%. This shocked me. In West Africa, this is totally rare. I think this is the lowest in West Africa. This is the best tax rate that you will find in West Africa. 15%, even for the highest income earner, okay? And for people of African American descent, Caribbean lineages, you can get your citizenship by descent based on your African ancestry. You do have to go through a tour operator, but they have been known to issue passports, okay? They also came out with a new citizenship by investment program. And so, hey, 15%, that may be, low enough for you to say, look, if that law passes, I'm going to choose Sierra Leone because I'm already set up over here. Maybe you have business accounts that will function in Sierra Leone. Don't know if you'll be able to use like Stripe, PayPal, stuff like that, but it's something to consider because dual citizenship tightening means these kinds of lineage-based passports will become extremely valuable when you are ready at that perfect time. So if they ever say to you, pick a side, a Sierra Leonean passport plus a second African PR means you are not literally starting from zero. You're negotiating as somebody instead of somebody with stateless vibes. You are negotiating as a Sierra Leonean citizen. I just love that for Sierra Leone. Shout out to Sierra Leone. I definitely have to visit someday in the future, okay? Because your girl is pregnant and I won't be doing that anytime soon. Now, number 1, I have 2 countries in the number 1 slot. You could probably guess, and I know y'all be on this channel like, wow, does Mauritius rank number 1 for everything? Well, quite literally most things in Africa that have to do with business, tax, logistics, real estate, permanent residence, retirement, 10-year, 20-year residence permits. Mauritius kind of takes the bag. But get this, they're tied with another island nation called Seychelles, okay? They're the twin island shields. Okay, Mauritius and Seychelles together both have personal income tax that is super low at about 15%. Okay, now they also in Mauritius do not have capital gains tax when you go to sell a home here. They do not get you for taxes right when you're coming in the country, and if you're on a premium digital nomad visa, you're tax free. As long as you don't remit money to a Mauritian account, you are tax free, which is fantastic. And then they have other incentives. You know what? Let me just tell you, you better go to the Mauritius Economic Development Bank and see all their incentives. Like if you've been looking at Mauritius, you need to study that website in depth the way I used to, because that is how we are so successful today. In the island nation of Mauritius, where there's a will, there's a way, it's super, super simple. You just have to read. Like, if you're not reading, then I don't know what you're doing in life. Now, if you're like, I'm too exhausted, I'm too stressed out, you know, I have this healthcare issue, or, you know, so-and-so, my cousin passed away, or, you know, I've just been, you feel like you have too much anxiety around it, go ahead and head to www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com, because we do have a 4-week coaching incubator, an intensive where we can hold your hand and walk you through the steps, step by step, to choose one of these top 5 best African countries and what you have to do on the American side before leaving. I mean, literally in the Mature Adult Intensive, one of our clients was like, hey, just this last Monday, yesterday, she was like, should I have a power of attorney? You know, it never hurts to get a power of attorney. You can file it on Rocket Lawyer. We know a lot of online service providers. We're connected with a lot of law firms in the States that will get these things tied up for you while you're stateside, so you don't have to fly back and forth if you don't want to, because you should know, if you've been on this channel, we do not fly back and forth. We just stay put, we stay stable, and we keep rolling with the times, okay? So Seychelles runs that progressive personal income tax. Now their bracket is 15 to 30% as well, but Mauritius and Seychelles hit the top 2 countries for least corruption in Africa, and the top 2 for the best performing passports. If you were to get these passports, that's why their numbers 1 and 1 on the list, essentially, not 1 and 2, but that's why they're on this list and they have that top slot. These countries are going to give you access to basically the entire world visa free. You cannot say that for every African passport. These countries are also super peaceful, the way that Sierra Leone is as well. Sierra Leone is known to be super, super peaceful. Now, if your dual citizenship gets restricted, island states like Mauritius and Seychelles can become lifeboats for you. And you don't have to rush through the process again. Mauritius has long-term residency for 10 years. Yes, like 10. Retirement residence, 10 years when you hit age 50. Self-employed entrepreneur, 10 years. If you're innovative and you have a great business idea, 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. You're not gonna find that anywhere else on earth except Thailand. Okay, I already did the research. You're not gonna find it. You're not gonna find it anywhere else on earth except Thailand, okay? Now, this tax code does not suffocate you, but it does make you productive. The banking system understands cross-border money, and they're not trying to steal your children's inheritance through taxes. Again, start this residency through investment, business, employment, and over time you may qualify for naturalization, but you do not have to get a citizenship. You do not need a passport to live in Africa. Just like I always tell you guys, you do not need a work permit. You don't need a job if you start your business and run it before you get to an African country. Now the business has to actually function and have customers and have a website and have social media and look like you're actually a business owner. Like they can tell, like, do you own a business or you just like randomly doing stuff? But if you're a legit business owner, real estate, finance, marketing, graphic design, freelancing, you want to open a storefront, you want to open a restaurant, Mauritius is the place to do it. And I'm telling you right now, people from Taiwan, India, South Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, Congo, Gabon, Ghana, Nigeria, they're all here. People from all over the world. So get this, you can quietly place your white flag in areas like Ghana, Botswana, Mauritius, Seychelles, Sierra Leone before the rules change. And if you're 40 plus, you're thinking about retirement, relocation, being a digital nomad, getting your advanced business systems together, visit www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com and comment passport down below if you want a full breakdown video on the exact residency rules for each of the 5 countries that I just mentioned. Share this with as many people as you can, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Shalom, shalom.